Okay, so this is a video about how I passed my JLPT N3 first time round. I sat the exam in Dublin and I live in London. I had to go to Dublin because I was determined that on the 1st of December I was going to sit that test, and I didn't care if I had to sit it in Scotland, if I had to sit it in Cardiff, if I had to sit it in any other city in the UK. I just knew that I wanted it off my chest and I wanted to pass. So I started studying for it around late August, when I was starting to feel a bit useless, like I had nothing else going on. And the way I started studying was because I had studied Japanese language before. I went over the materials that I did in the past, just trying to get myself familiar with the vocabulary, familiar with the sentence patterns. And you know, your brain is truly so amazing, because when a person sits down and learns something, when they learn it again, it does assimilate a lot faster. Although there were some things that I didn't remember, and that really irritated me. It felt like my mind was failing me. So yeah, I studied for like 1 month reviewing the things that I went over, and then I moved on to N3 material, and I was using a range of different N3 textbooks. And there are a lot of textbooks, and it can get very confusing. I even had to use a textbook that I had bought 4 years before, that I was put off of using because it was different from the textbooks that I was learning from when I was learning Japanese. So you can get very lost in textbooks, and it can become a landmine and a mind map, and it could be very difficult. But definitely, I really think that the textbooks that So-matome Nihongo, I think the So-matome textbooks are really good with the vocabulary, terrible with grammar. Do not get it for grammar, because the grammar one is, the explanations are so simple, it doesn't really give you an explanation. It just is a case of monkey see, monkey do, monkey see, monkey do, and it doesn't really solidify the knowledge. Actually, for grammar, I really recommend you get the Kaizen Master textbooks. They are good. Or Mina no Nihongo. Mina no Nihongo is really good, but yeah, actually, Kaizen Master and Mina no Nihongo are made by 3 Network, which is the same company. So that's why they're very good and detailed. So get Kaizen Master, because they are made by the same company as Mina no Nihongo. And because I've lived on a body of Mina no Nihongo textbooks, sometimes I recognize similar sentence patterns from the Mina no Nihongo Kyokasho and Mina no Nihongo Honbunsho. So Kaizen Master just summarizes all that information and puts it into the N3 format, and just takes all the stuff out of the textbook that you learn and puts it in N3. So you'll be fine. Now, I got pretty anal about my studying routine. I don't recommend you do it. I got so anal and so up myself that I literally cut my friendship circle off for 3 months, because I was that determined I was going to pass the exam, and I didn't want to get distracted and led astray and taken off course. So when I drove myself anal, it was counterproductive. And luckily my mum decided to take me on holiday, so we went on holiday for a week, and I was still trying to study on holiday, but it wasn't happening as much. I was still trying to make the effort to do something. Time goes on, and I come back and I'm feeling like, oh my god, I'm falling behind. I don't feel like studying. I've come out my studying routine now. This feels awful, and I'm feeling the pressure. It's now October, and the exam is about 8 weeks away, and panic and fear kick in. And panic and fear aren't good friends when you're trying to study, but I try to say, calm down, just work through it, it's gonna be fine, everything's gonna work out. And I tried to go through the content week by week by week, but I knew I was falling behind some days, I'd miss some days, and I was getting panic stricken. Then I came across, what's her name? Kumi-chan's videos on studying for the N3, and literally, like, I took notes on her video on what to do, and she was just like, don't overthink it with the vocabulary. You don't have to know every single vocabulary. When you reach a certain stage, when there's like around 3 weeks to go until the test and you're shitting balls, she said, don't try to learn anything new. Just review what you've learned. Review the vocabulary. Try and if you have time, learn some new vocabulary. Review the grammar. Review the reading. Review listening. Because that listening exam is not a joke. It's not a joke. It will slaughter you. Don't try to learn anything new. Just go over your kanji, go over your grammar, go over your everything when you have like 3 weeks left. And I felt so tempted to try and push forward, like, I've got to know more, I've got to know more. And I kind of did try to sneak a little bit in, but actually I pretty much gave up towards the end of it. What else to say? Yeah, so the exam was interesting. I mean, I'm sure, you might have heard about the exam already, but the listening exam, you really need to listen out, because it's easy to fail. It's very easy to fail that one. So yeah, I'm really surprised that I passed, because towards the end of the whole studying process, I was exhausted. I didn't feel like studying anymore. I felt like I was going to throw in the towel. I felt like I was just going to fail anyways. There was no point continuing. I felt like, what was the point? I was just doing this all in vain. I cut off all my friends and it was all in vain. There was no real benefit from the whole experience. But I decided, you know what? I'm just going to do this. I'm going to do the best I can. And I'm going to go into this exam with a positive mindset and just see what happens. All right? Don't fail on yourself before you've put in some effort. Don't give up on yourself. So, when I was in Dublin, I was there for like 2 days before. And I was trying to like see Dublin. I went sightseeing. I went out drinking. I was going out during the day in Dublin. I wasn't really studying. So I was very relaxed by the time it came to the test. I came into the exam room. I was just calm. I was like, whatever happens, happens. I was so calm. And I'm never like that. I remember one Japanese exam. I remember my first Japanese exam I ever sat. I was sweating balls. I nearly had a panic attack in that exam. I think I wasted half an hour in that exam trying to calm myself down. But this exam, it was just like, okay, here we go. Easy. The first paper, easy. The second paper, the third paper. It was just like, what did she just say? I heard the words drink, bar, something, tick. That was my experience. So I just had to ride the wave. I was like, this is just funny. Let's just see what I get. I went in with that mindset of exploring. When my result came, I legit thought it was a joke. I thought it was a joke. I thought I was reading the template of how to read your result. But I was actually reading the result which said I had passed. And I thought that I was reading a template that was teaching me how to read my result when I was reading my result which said I had passed. I couldn't believe it. I flipped out. And I passed quite well as well, so I'm surprised. My hard work paid off, and everything was worth it in the end. So yeah, that was my experience of doing the JLPT N3 and passing the first time. Don't compare yourself to me if you haven't passed the first time. I've failed Japanese exams in the past because I studied it at school. So I've got that exam savviness, I guess. Yeah. So don't give up on yourself. Just try. Just tell yourself, even if I fail, at least I knew I did my best. Don't expect to fail though. Just go for it. Just gambare.